Welcome to Vegas. We are here at the Riftbound Regional Qualifiers in beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada, and we are giving you a full walkthrough of this regional's show floor. From the main event to side events to vendors and more, we're showing you every bit of what this regionals has to offer. So let's get started. A familiar logo archway and some familiar signage. If you attended the Houston regionals, it's going to look very, very similar. Walking on in, you're going to get this beautiful screen printed art of all sorts of different cards from both Origins and Spirit Forge before it lets you out into the hall proper. There was a lot to see. There was a lot to do. Even more, I would argue, than we had in Houston, which was, of course, the first regionals event outside of China for this trading card game. And here we are. A look at the absolutely packed to the brim expo hall with so much going on. We're going to walk you through every single bit of it and everything that is on offer. We have a dedicated creator space here for content creators and members of the press and media, which we will double back to as we get toward the end of this. And we're going to start with some of the vendors that are front and center to this experience. A lot of them seemingly local to the Las Vegas area, which is great, which means when you're buying things at these events, you are supporting local card shops, local game stores, and vendors who operate and build communities around where these regionals take place, which is always fantastic. A dedicated watch area and what was a panel space for Houston where people can sit, relax, decompress, and maybe take in some additional Riftbound content as well, which is always appreciated. And again, you will see lots of vendors at these types of events. We're going to cover more of them as we walk through the back half of the show floor tour here, but we have to stop at the ever popular card slinging space, where you can saddle on up and face off against not just Riftbound developers and people from Riot, but also notable content creators in the Riftbound and TCG space to go up against them, try out your decks, see if you can beat them in combat, in showdowns. That's funny because those are Riftbound mechanics. See what we did there? The open play and trading area is also always a huge draw, and you can obviously see that here, where people will bring binders full of just the most incredible pulls, insanely shiny cardboard, where you can go just hang out with friends and play, get some reps in if you want to. But if you're here to be serious about trading and building your collection, that is absolutely one place to do it. The Las Vegas regionals, even bigger than Houston, despite the space being a fair bit smaller, a sizable amount of attendees more than we saw in Houston. And that contributes to the area feeling pretty dense, pretty packed, and very active no matter where you are. Here we take a quick look at the merch store, and we pan over here because early Friday when the expo hall first opened, the lines were wrapping and twisting around, not just here, but all the way back toward and extending past the main stage for featured matches, which will be displayed there. You saw that they were still setting it up while we were walking by here on reasonably early on Friday afternoon. Here's a quick look at some of what's available at the merch store. A lot of obviously league-related merchandise, statues, fun little trinkets and take-homes, and we're going to swirl you around all of these great display cases that are outside of the merch store so you can see, again, a little bit of what's on offer as we go ahead and walk around here. Again, the Vegas regional is a fair bit bigger, pretty densely packed, and that's thanks to sort of the 4 different badge types that were on offer. 2 ways to attend: as sort of a premium attendee, whether you're competing in the main event or not, and as a standard attendee, whether you're, again, competing in the main event or not. There are all sorts of different opportunities and all sorts of different ways to get product, engage with the game, have fun with your friends. A lot of different badge types. We'll be covering that in a separate video throughout the weekend. The spoils for the winner of the regional qualifiers, a unique champion branded mat, all of these best of metal prizing cards as well, which is always glorious to see and always very, very talked about. And of course, the trophy as well. Swirling around these best of metal cards, one given out to the best performing legend to appear in the main tournament, no matter where they place. So you can come in using your favorite legend, someone you love from League of Legends, for example, or, champion units and decks that you just really like to play, and you can try to be the very best among them that are here. If you looked at Bologna regionals last week as we record this, there were so many different types of players and different play styles, every legend pretty well represented. So you don't have to come in strictly playing a very serious meta. For Vegas, for example, you don't need to be playing Draven. You don't have to be playing Aurelia. You don't have to be playing Ezreal, which has now, I imagine, become a lot more popular since winning the Bologna regionals outright. You can have fun with whatever legend you choose. You have that best of prizing to strive toward if that's something that you really want to work towards, or you just bring in the legend you prefer, have fun and see what happens. And there's a lot of flexibility, and it contributes to a very healthy playing environment throughout as well. You can get a feel here for, again, how very densely packed a lot of this space is. We'll take a look at more of the main event and side event areas as we go. And another look at the merch store here, intelligently this time around, double-sided. So there's two different sets of registers and ways that you can go up and pay for product. This is where you would obtain your booster boxes that you would get from your vouchers, depending on your badge type, for example, and of course, so many more goodies, depending on exactly what you're looking for here. We saw all sorts of different bundles, all sorts of fun stuff going out, and you just got to make sure that you carry it all. Moving around here, part of what also defines the experience in a lot of these ways is the access to, different sort of food and, nourishment options and ways to sort of take a load off as you're coming through here. So despite this event hall in particular feeling a little more densely packed and smaller than Houston did, the food options surprisingly robust and surprisingly thorough. Obviously a lot of different drink options, but everything from fully packaged cheeseburgers and hamburgers and sandwiches to personal Papa John's pizzas, as it turns out. Just a lot of different options. So there's, really no reason you should be going hungry at one of these events unless you're having too much fun, which, admittedly is often the case for us. One thing that we also really appreciate this time around is a map of the show floor posted at many different areas around the expo hall. You've seen a couple of these now, so you can very quickly orient yourself relative to where you are, what's around you, and what's going on. We move into some of the competitive play spaces here, and already you'll see some improvements from Houston, notably, as we swing around to them, more timers and more speakers available throughout not just the main event areas, but the side event areas as well. So you get a much better idea as you're playing what the current time left in the round is, how your match is currently being paced relative to where you are. Are you up? Do you have a lot of points over your opponent? Do you need to make sure that everyone's keeping a solid cadence and not slow playing? That helps a lot. Here, we're going to get into some of the side event areas as well. Also, very nicely delineated based on the type of event that you're playing. So, for example, you saw, 2v2 team challenges, sealed deck challenges, full box sealed, all have their own dedicated play spaces and areas with what I believe are rune banners to designate where specific side events are lining up and queuing up in order to start. Don't quote me on that part, but I believe that's how they've been used throughout the weekend so far. There again, you see more speakers and more ability for announcers and judges to make their announcements known throughout the event. And that's been really, really helpful as different, side events are running in parallel with each other and will obviously be helpful with the main event. We are recording this, on Friday afternoon and Friday evening before the real bulk of the tournament has taken place. But so many players gathering for these different side events, and you have a lot of them on offer as well. Just to name a few different types, you do have 2v2 challenges. So for people who enjoy the multiplayer format, there are, multiple chances throughout the weekend to engage in not just that specific type of play, but any type of side event that you like. Odds are there is at least 2 or 3 opportunities that you'll have to engage with that throughout the weekend, depending on when you can get here. Obviously, something like full box sealed events where you get an entire booster display to build your deck out of, sold out pretty much immediately. One major difference between Houston and this regionals in Las Vegas was that side event registration went up online several weeks ahead of time. It was pre-announced, it was advertised on Riot's social media pages, so you had the opportunity to get enrolled and get signed up in these events that you wanted to right when they happen. Now, obviously, things like full box sealed signed up, so if you weren't aware of this timeline or you weren't able to get on right when it opened up, yeah, you probably were left in the lurch on that one. But as early as this morning, there were still many, many different side events that you had to pre-register for that were still available. The 1,024 player Super Nexus night just filled up a couple of days ago. So that gives you some of the context for how accessible it is to get to some of these events and to participate in the ways that, you have fun with. You see some of the judges tables there and some of the scorekeepers where a lot of the behind the scenes work is being done to keep these events running as smoothly as possible. And again, we start to move over now into the main event space, obviously used for side events here. But the move to pre-registering ahead of time, while a little bit frustrating for those who maybe wanted to do a full box sealed event, may have been a little challenging to get into. That's always going to be the case with how wildly, immensely popular these events are. Getting into those popular things at the popular events is always going to be a challenge. Here you saw the registration for the on-demand events where you can just build up a pod of 8 people and go play 1v1 or 2v2. Those happen all weekend long. As players dynamically come up, you get a bunch of 8 and you go. And here's the prize wall as well, where you can exchange prize tickets that you earn in those side events for everything from metal cards, which have a much higher threshold to meet, of 40 tickets now instead of 15, booster boxes, booster packs, different merch. You can spend those prize tickets that you get by doing well in Riftbound throughout the weekend on all sorts of different things, and that's a great time. You see a dedicated learn to play space as well that has its own hours that we're walking up on, so you can come to these things and not be slinging, alt arts and overnumbers of every single one. If you've never played Riftbound before, if you're just attending with friends and you want to get into it, it gives you a risk-free and really fun, laid-back way to understand the mechanics, to come to grips with how it all works, and to have a little bit of fun at the same time. Here we start to go by some of the vendor offerings here, everything from deck boxes to play mats to dice to interesting wares. And this table in particular we wanted to focus on, not just for some of the arcane merch, but also a lot of Chinese Riftbound stuff as well. You've got sleeves, you've even got mini booster packs, like slim booster packs, and booster boxes, and the quote-unquote jumbo sizes, which are half the size of the American booster boxes. Jumbo in Chinese has 12 packs. The US booster displays have 24, but those are even available from some vendors here. Also very cool are dynamic singles hot lists that you see, what, specific overnumbered or signature cards are available, really hot commodities for the competitive space, and how much they're currently available for, and how much, these stores are buying these for. So for example, overnumbered Ari going for $250, signature Ari from Spirit Forge, $3,000, signature Aurelia, $1,600. Really amazing opportunities to sling and trade and sell the cards you have. If you've built up an interesting collection, you want to shed a little bit of it, you're trying to buy maybe that last overnumbered you're really looking for. Odds are one of these vendors are going to have them throughout the weekend, and you will have access to specific cards and singles at these types of events that you really won't have anywhere else aside from shopping somewhere like TCG Player or online. And again, you get a feel for just how much product is available here, not just from a booster box and a booster pack perspective, but singles as well. Pretty much every vendor has these to some degree, some more fairly priced than others, but odds are you're going to be able to find a specific single that you need, especially a rare or an epic one that maybe you need to complete your deck, or maybe you were hoping you would just find regardless. They're likely available from multiple different vendors, so you can find them at the right price in the right quantity, whatever works for you. It's been a really interesting time here in Vegas, kind of getting acclimated and finding all of these new interesting things as well. Something we don't recall from Houston, but is present here, is graded card availability as well. So obviously you can work with this particular outlet and retailer to get cards graded, but you can see some of what they have on offer here as well. Usually very rare, very sought after cards. You have a lot of overnumbers, you have legends, you have things that are just in absolute pristine quality. So if that is something that you care about, and that is an element of the Riftbound experience that matters to you, you have the ability to indulge in that here with graded cards and engaging with the graded card experience in ways that may be a little more difficult when you don't have hands-on access to the process or people that typically do it. And here we start to wind down and take a look at, some of the rest of the beginning of the expo hall here. So at a really high and broad level, it's been really fun to see how the competitive and regionals experience has improved and has evolved since Houston. You've probably seen here, aside from the logistical layouts and differences, quite a few key differences in terms of the events on offer, in terms of the space that's available, in terms of what you can do and how well put together the whole thing is, that make it a lot of fun and are showing a lot of genuine improvement from Houston. Here we have some dedicated content creator space where events for influencers and press are happening, with the standees for Yasuo and Jinx, so you can take pictures with the cards if you so desire. And then, of course, the printed versions of Origins and Spirit Forged, where all of the cards are out on standees and in this beautiful screen printed way, so you can take a look at exactly those cards that you want to see in a little bit better detail. This was especially awesome in Houston when Spirit Forged was still very much on the horizon, and it's great to see these pieces of art and these standees kind of reused across all these different events, and it makes a lot of sense. Of course, we're zooming in on Not So Fast, because why not? It's a staple, is it not? We're going to see a lot of it going forward. We hope you enjoyed this look at the show floor for the Riftbound regional qualifiers here in Las Vegas. A lot to see, a lot to do. And as we're recording this on Friday afternoon, Friday evening, there is still a lot coming up across the weekend. Thanks so much for watching. Stay fresh, cheese bags. We'll catch you back here real soon.